Hey there, 5-6. We're going to do a little activity. I want you to list all of the things that you love. I'm going to do it too, and I'm going to share it right over here. Are you ready? Go! Did you think of a lot? Okay, now I want for you to describe the love you feel for some of those things and people that you just listed. We use the word love to describe our feelings, but when you compare the items on your list, how different is the kind of love you feel for each thing or for each person? It varies, right? Doesn't this make the word love confusing? How do you show love to the people in your life? We use the word love to describe how we feel about our closest family members, as well as our last juicy burger or even tacos. We all know that there are lots of different loves. There's love of a friend, love of a parent, love of basketball, love of tacos, love of Nerf wars. But what about our love for Jesus? What about the love he wants us to demonstrate to other people? That's what we're going to examine in today's lesson. So our scripture reading for today comes from the book of John, chapter 21, verses 10 through 17. Bring some of the fish you've just caught, Jesus said. So Simon Peter went aboard and dragged the net to the shore. There were 153 large fish, and yet the net hadn't torn. Now come and have some breakfast, Jesus said. None of the disciples dared to ask him, "Who are you?" They knew it was the Lord. Then Jesus served them the bread and the fish. This was the third time Jesus had appeared to the disciples since he had been raised from the dead. After breakfast, Jesus asked Simon Peter, "Simon, son of John, do you love me more than these?" "Yes, Lord," Peter replied. "You know I love you." "Then feed my lambs," Jesus told him. Jesus repeated the question, "Simon, son of John, do you love me?" "Yes, Lord," Peter said. "You know I love you." "Then take care of my sheep," Jesus said. A third time he asked him, "Simon, son of John, do you love me?" Peter was hurt that Jesus asked the question yet a third time. He said, "Lord, you know everything. You know that I love you." Jesus said, "Then feed my sheep." This passage isn't as repetitive as it may seem. So let's take a closer look at what Jesus is really saying. That brings me to my first point. Jesus wants us to love him most. I'm going to post some questions on the screen, and I want you to pause the video and take time to answer them on your own. The biggest thing that we need to realize, 5-6, is that the Bible wasn't originally written in English. What? Most of the New Testament was written in Greek and in the original language for this passage. Jesus used two different words for love. He used agapeo, usually described as God's unconditional love, and phileo, which is brotherly love, which is why Philadelphia is called the city of brotherly love, because of phileo. Anyways, he wanted Peter and us to love him with agapeo. Peter responds with a lesser love, phileo. Jesus wants us to love him unconditionally, to have the kind of love that remains strong and devoted to him. That brings me to my second point. Jesus asks us to tend his lambs. I'm going to post some questions on the screen, and I want you to pause the video and take time to answer them on your own. So when we read this passage and Jesus keeps saying, "Then feed my lambs," what does lambs mean? The lambs in this passage are people younger than you, and also those new in their relationship with Jesus. You know, as Christians, we all have a responsibility to help and encourage them. And even if you don't think you know a lot about the Bible or about Jesus, you can still tell people what you've learned and experienced as a follower of Christ. That brings me to my third point. Jesus asks us to feed his sheep. I'm going to post some questions on the screen, and I want you to pause the video and take time to answer them on your own. In this passage, sheep are people already following Jesus or people who are older than you. And no matter where you are on your walk with Jesus, you need spiritual food. Reading the Bible, praying to God, spending time with Jesus, all of those things combined. And you can share what you know about Jesus with others. I'm going to post some additional questions on the screen, and I want you to pause the video and take time to answer them on your own. That's all I got for today, 5-6. See you again soon.